Resist the urge to homogenize, because when you do that, when you take another person's aesthetic or try to be this person or that person, you know, it lacks an authenticity, and that is something that people can sense. Have you ever seen a woman that looks sophisticated, elevated, expensive, and you couldn't put your finger on why, but she just had this overall vibe in the way that she carries herself, the way that she presents herself, puts her look together, the way she moves and comes into the room, her tone of voice and her interactions with other people, and you don't know much about her, but it makes you intrigued to the point to where it's like we do this thing where we'll start to make up a story about someone, like, oh, I bet she has this kind of car, or I bet she dates this type of man, or I bet she's, you know, wealthy or is able to afford herself these type of experiences. Well, in this video, I'm going to be sharing 7 micro habits that speak before you do. These are habits that make you appear to be expensive, just energetically. They command attention, they command respect, they cause, you know, intrigue in other people, and overall they signal a level of confidence, self-security, and assurity. So if you are interested in understanding how you can have these traits and emulate them so that you get that type of response in life and you can project yourself as a self-assured type of signature woman, then you are in the right place. Welcome back to all of my subbies, and if you are new here, welcome. My name is Kiya, and over here we talk about fragrance, lifestyle, fashion, and all things involving womanhood, on how to elevate, present yourself, and show up as the woman that you would like to be. And first things first, like I said, you are never fully dressed without a fragrance. So I'm going to give y'all my fragrance combination, because one thing that speaks before you do when you enter a room is a fragrance. A signature fragrance is such a beautiful finishing detail that a woman can add to her look to enhance her vibe, because once people see you, they, you know, catch sight of you, and then they catch a smell to you, it just deepens that intrigue and, you know, the olfactory journey of trying to understand who it is you are and, you know, what it is that they are beholding. So first, you know, I went in with the EOS Cozy and Fresh and Cozy lotion. So this has a nice, like, sweet type of almost cotton candy fresh smell to me. That's what it smells like. Like, it's almost like a linen fresh, but like it has like this slight like candy-ish spun sugar vibe. So I went in with this, and then a combo I have been loving, I shared this on my community tab, is Brown Sugar Babe, because we're brown sugar babes over here. I've got Bask for you, and this is a rendition of a Louis Vuitton fragrance. It has a shampooy, almost soapy, rosy, slightly sweet and floral vibe to it that just smells very clean, effortless, and elevated. And then I have Nude Bouquet from the house of Zara. This is a affordable fragrance. It lasts long. Y'all, when I tell you I wore this combination out the other day, every single man was telling me, you smell good, you smell so good. This one man, he was speaking Spanish. He was like, oh my God, I like your lotion. Like, can you tell me what that is? And I'm like, oh, you know, I'm typing it into my phone trying to tell him. And then I did go ahead and spray a little bit of, what is this called? Up at Dawn from Replica. I just got this to kind of like top it off. Like, it's not coming out. So yes, Up at Dawn from Replica, also a beautiful, interesting type of rose. It's got some rose, it's got some pepper, some musk. It smells very lifted and pretty, and it reminds me of, you know, the Bask oil. It partners really well together, and I wanted to test this fragrance out because I don't have any fragrances from the House of Replica, don't tend to gravitate towards them, but I think this might be my first one. So this video is a continuation of our Signature Woman series, and I'm sharing my personal mantra that I've had with y'all over the past couple of years, which is smell good and elevate. And we have already done a video on how to select your signature scent, and I introduced the idea of fragrance family so that you can curate a vibe in addition to, you know, fragrance archetypes that I created. There is a quiz that I've created on my website, theoctobersong.com, as a resource to help you find what your archetype is, to get into the vibes of, you know, picking out your signature scent, your vibe, and what you want to bring. So definitely make sure you check out that video and those resources as well, because yes, one thing that distinguishes a woman and makes her have the appeal and appearance of being expensive is the things that she is willing to do for herself, the time that she takes that is not just like rushed in hurry, throwing herself together. It's the finishing touches and the details that she allows herself to show up with that signal, exactly who she is, how she wants to be received, and then it just brings this overall vibe of admiration and respect. Diving deeper into the appearance and the presentation, a woman shows up with mindful signatures that, signal her personality, her vibe, and just add, finishing details and, accoutrement to her style and what it is that she wants to portray. So for example, y'all will always find me with, signature jewelry pieces, just like dainty pieces that I don't have to take off, that I always keep on to just, give me a nice and polished and womanly feminine type of look, because I feel like jewelry is just like very cute, very feminine. So I like to have, things that don't, distract or take away from my outfit. The way that I accessorize myself is so that it matches with every outfit. But then also sometimes I'll do a little wild card. Like today I'm wearing my cute little armband because it gives like a youthful and carefree and summertime vibe, and it gives a little bit of like eclecticism to this polished look that I have put together. Another signature of mine is, always wearing a dress or a skirt, something with a, silhouette that looks feminine. And then also it's not common, but for me, I love to wear brown in the summertime. Brown is one of my favorite colors to wear in the summertime. It's one of my personal signatures. I love the, color brown in general, but something about it, the way it sits on my skin, and for whatever reason, I have decided that brown is for the summertime, though it's considered a fall color, because that's signature to me. That is, my signature. I have the way that I, do my makeup. I pretty much do my makeup the same way every single day, in a way that enhances my face, enhances my beauty. I'm not wearing overly thick lashes. I'm not wearing overly dramatic eye makeup or anything like that. I'm just like drawing attention to my cheekbones that are pretty, my eyes, which people have complimented me on, and then just doing a mindful look that looks polished, put together, and then also that is sustainable for me, that I can do every single day. Because y'all, that is what we're going for. In order for you to be a signature woman, the main thing that I want y'all to understand in this series is you're going to have to be able to sustain it and maintain it. It has to be something that you are able to prioritize and practice and do every day, so that you can, be known for being a signature woman, be known for being polished, be known for smelling good. If you are too overly ambitious with what it is that you're trying to do and curate, then it just defeats the purpose, because it's not about doing the most, it's about doing just a little bit more to signal that, hey, I'm here, I care about myself. And the way that you are consistent with that is that you're able to do what works for you and your lifestyle, okay? And over here, we do not do fake and bogus femininity. There are a tons of different ways to be feminine. Every woman has their own type of femininity, and it's up to you to pull that out of yourself. Resist the urge to homogenize, because when you do that, when you take another person's aesthetic or try to be this person or that person, it lacks an authenticity, and that is something that people can sense. So if you are a cool girl type of style, be cool. You know what I'm saying? Like if you are a 90s R&B type of vibe and you like to wear a little crop top and a high-waisted, jean situation, and that is what works for you, because here's the thing as well, you have to do what works for you in the spaces that you're in. A lot of people will think that people are judging them, or there's all of these respectability politics. Every style, every aesthetic works, okay? But it's depending on the audience that you put it in front of. Don't try to go into an old money aesthetic audience and then be feeling like you're an outcast because you want to look like a 90s R&B vibe. Don't come into a space that is like very girly and cutesy and a traditionally like pink and white feminine type of vibe, and you coming in there gothic saying that everybody is judging you you, if you go to an artsy crowd, if you go to, you know, like a museum or something like that, you will be welcomed, you will be embraced, because that is the audience for that. So, you know, resist the urge to try to be something that you're not. Decide what you want to be, make it work for you, and then put yourself in front of the right audience that is going to be able to receive you as you are. Something that makes you, you know, look expensive, something that speaks before you do as a woman. This is my personal belief. I feel like we should be sexy. I feel like we should give a little something, but definitely be mindfully sexy. Like, you know, a lot of people would say what I'm wearing today is, you know, modest, and it just, you know, gives that type of vibe. And yes, but me, I'm gonna show a little something. You know, my body is covered and that's fine, but I'm gonna show a little titties because I'm grown, you know, and I got a little something, I want to show it. And as long as you're doing it in a mindful way, I feel like women should definitely be in touch with their bodies, their sensuality. If you got a nice shape, wear stuff that shows off your shape. You know, if you are an athletic build and more slim like me, you know, wear things that drape off of the body. Again, resist the urge to fall into dressing yourself in a way that really doesn't fit your aesthetic. See, I never fell for the whole bodysuit craze and like wearing those one pieces and stuff like that, because I have more of a, you know, slim athletic build. I look better with clothing that cascades off of me, that drapes when I walk, because it has a better effect versus somebody, if you got a little, you know what I'm saying, something going on, or, you know, something that gives you a little bit more curvaceous shape or whatever the case is, you know, lean into that. Again, be appropriate for the environment, and then dress according to what is the lifestyle that you want, what is the attention that you want to attract. I feel like we're all adults at this point, and you know what it is that you're trying to do. I'm not here to police any type of woman, but I do think that, yes, mindfully speaking, do not be afraid to, you know, be a little bit sexy, you know, mindfully show a midriff. I used to always tell my friends this in college: you can only have 2 things showing maximum at a time. So if you got your boobs and your stomach out, do not show your legs. If you have your legs and your stomach out, you know, cover up your boobs. You know what I'm saying? Whichever one, it's like a rule of 3 in levels. Only have 2 things showing at one time, and that way you can, you know, keep yourself from looking a little, you know, classless or trashy or whatever the case is, because obviously, you know, we want to be mindful, but there is nothing wrong with expressing your femininity, being a little bit sexy and showing us what you got. Okay, which brings me to my next point of what makes a woman look expensive and speaks before she does when she walks into the room is the way that she walks. So this has to do with your posture. How high are your shoulders? Is your head back? You know, are you able to come into the room confidently with an even pace? Are you able to put a little switch in your hip when you walk? That is very sexy. That is very sensual. That is our right as women to be feeling ourselves. Put things on, present yourself in a way, show up in spaces to where people can feel you, because that's the difference in, you know, that magnetism, that energy that we get from a woman. Wear things that make you feel yourself, and then don't be afraid to lean into that. Because me, when I'm cute, I know I'm cute. I'm about to go out to brunch and everything with my friend. After this, I'm gonna have a little switch in my walk, because that's just is what it is. I've been like that ever since I was a little girl. When I, you know, thought I was cute, or I was able to wear a dress and stuff like that, I would be walking around like Miss Thang, Miss Thang. People been telling me, oh, you think you all that, since I was young, because in my mind, when I would see women who looked a certain way, who was feeling themselves and had it going on, you know, you're gonna have a certain sway about yourself, and that gives confidence, that gives authenticity. So it's not about being a robot. It's not about being prim and proper. It's about being your version of, you know, feminine, your version of polished, your version of put together. And then, like I said, putting yourself in front of the right audience, because the thing that gives expensiveness and that gives a surety is that level of authenticity, and you being able to lean into what is truly you. Okay, another thing that I'm sure y'all have heard this before, maybe you haven't, so I'm going to tell you it today. Once you come in the room and you're polished, you're put together, you've put that time, that energy, that effort, and you know, you're giving that confidence, that self-assurity, you got that sway in your hips when you walk. When someone compliments you, and they will, because you've taken the time to present something that is, you know, worth beholding, Just say thank you. That is a big distinguisher of who is expensive and who is not, who values themselves and who doesn't. If someone says, I like your dress, say, oh, thank you. You do not have to return the compliment if you do not have a compliment to return. You do not have to, rush and try to think, oh, I like your outfit too. And their outfit isn't even something that you really like or isn't something to compliment. A woman who is, expensive, assured, she's going to receive. You have to be able to receive. Obviously, we know femininity is about receiving. Receive your compliments, receive them graciously. The way that you return the compliment is by offering a warm smile and saying thank you. You don't have to do too much. You don't have to try to figure out and say, oh, it was on sale, or oh, I got it from here, or oh, I got it from there. We didn't ask you. We said you looked nice. You say thank you, and then you can say, and how are you today? That's one thing that I like to do. If it's appropriate, if we're not just passing each other, if we're standing next to each other and someone compliments me and we're standing in line at a coffee shop and it's like, oh, I like your dress. I'm like, oh, thank you so much. How are you today? That's how the conversation starts. I don't have to, repay a compliment with a compliment that's actually not there. I can receive my compliment, stand in my power, and that is the affirmation that you're doing what it is that you need to do. Which brings me into my next point as well. Speaking slowly and moving slowly. If you are in an environment where you're talking to people, you have a conversation, be okay with pausing. Be okay with saying, be okay with being like, oh, you don't have to speak so fast. You don't have to talk so fast. Like, I talk fast sometimes, and then obviously I'm on a video with y'all. Again, I'm not a robot. I get excited. I'm talking and stuff sometimes. But when I'm in real life with people who I'm present and I'm like having a conversation with, I'm not going a mile a minute. Like, I'm breathing, I'm relaxing, I'm in my body, I'm speaking slowly. I come into the room, I'm moving slowly. If you see a woman who is walking confidently, relaxed in her body, and she is not rushed, that signals the most luxurious energy. Because one thing about it, because of our nervous systems, how we grew up and everything, I grew up in the hood, I get it, I understand. You got to get from point A to point B, you got to get out the car, lock the door, get into the house. You see what I'm saying? But hopefully you have been able to remove yourself from those environments. If not, you're working on it, because again, another caveat, don't try to do this little cutesy feminine stuff and being around hood and ghetto environments. You will be attacked. It's not cute. It's not nothing to play with. And if you do that, that's on you. So again, we're not doing fake femininity, going around, hood rats and raggities trying to talk soft and wear pink dresses. It's a setup. Don't do it. But if you are a woman who is embodied and you're able to walk slowly, you're able to talk slowly, it communicates that you're present, you're expensive, you have the energy to take the energy, you have the time to take the time to just be in flow, be embodied, to take in your environment and what's being said around you, and you're not in a rush. And on the point of speaking fast as well, don't be in such a rush to impress people. Okay, when you're in conversation with them, that's not very feminine. Okay, that is a very wanting type of energy. It is kind of a desperate type of energy. You don't have to try to think fast, improve yourself, to be smart. You don't have to try to know everything. It's okay to just receive the conversation as it comes. If anything, you want to more so like ask questions. You know what I mean? You don't have to try to always validate that you know something about something, or be a part of the conversation. Sometimes it's good to just take it all in, lean back, listen to the other people around, see their perspectives. And if you don't know something about that, you can just say, well, I always do, oh, I'm not familiar with that topic, but I'm open to hearing your perspective about it. Very simple, very easy. Don't, get in a situation where you sweating and stuttering and you feel like you got to prove a point or show something or whatever it is, because again, a willingness to listen, a willingness to learn. When you get around people who are expensive and wealthy, it's like they want you to ask questions more than they want you to give answers. Okay, I remember when I was speaking to this man, and he was telling me that, he had worked for all these great companies and he had his own business and everything, and he was worth like a couple of $1 million. Instead of just being like, oh my God, that's so great. You're so great. You're so smart. You're so this. That's the bogus version. of femininity that people will try to teach you. Oh, flatter them, compliment them, all that kind of stuff. You can if you genuinely have a compliment to give and if you want to be flattering. But what intrigued him and what made him tell me his whole business plan, business information that I'm able to use for myself today, I said, oh, that's interesting. It seems like you have a lot of experience. So what do you think it is about you that makes your clients trust you and, you know, want to work with you over some of your competitors? Then the man is linked in. Then he wants to come over. He wants to talk. He wants to tell me everything because, you know, a willingness to learn, a willingness to reflect, a willingness to respond, ask questions is very feminine, to receive information. A lot of wealthy people, they have a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of information, and they want to share it. You know, just like people who you find on YouTube, like myself. I feel like I know something, it could be valuable to another person, so I want to share it. So it's the same type of thing. So, you know, come into the room, be relaxed in your body, walk slowly, talk slowly, take it all in, ask more questions, and resist the urge to, you know, feel pressure to always have the answer or give answers in scenarios as well. And finally, one of the main things that signal expensive energy, it speaks before you do, is your ability to make eye contact. And I'm sure we've all heard that before, but then also how relaxed you feel within an environment. If you walk into every room and you're able to breathe easy, you're able to rest your eyes, you're able to look around, you're able to make meaningful eye contact when you're in a conversation, and you're not just like darting your eyes around the room trying to avoid, you know, anyone looking you in the eye and, you know, acting as if people can read your thoughts. You know, be able to make meaningful eye contact and come into the situation very relaxed. Don't come into the situation anxious, but that comes with knowing yourself, knowing that you have something to offer. You have to, you know, walk into the room as if you're the big idea. Don't go into rooms thinking that someone else has something better than you, or, you know, this is your chance to make an impression. And if not, everything is riding on this and you could lose the opportunity of a lifetime, because again, that type of energy is a very wanting energy, and that's not an expensive energy. That's not a laid back or luxurious energy. It's not a magnetic type of energy. So you want to be able to make eye contact, know that you've put yourself together, you're working on yourself. You don't have to be perfect, you don't have to have all the answers. Just come in, be confident, be cordial, and that is going to be enough. So you're able to, you know, relax in who it is that you are, who it is that you're becoming, and knowing that the right people are going to gravitate and attract themselves to you. So yeah, y'all, those are 7 tips for, you know, habits that you can start to put into practice, you know, hone and refine to give yourself this expensive and magnetic energy, most of them without even spending a dime. So let me know, are these things that you have in practice in your life? Are these things that you need to work on? Have you found these tips, you know, helpful, meaningful, or insightful in any kind of way? Again, please go ahead and, you know, hype my video up so more women can see the video and we can continue to grow the community. Go ahead and, you know, share this with your friend, with your cousin, with your, you know, niece, or any younger women, especially in your life as well, that could benefit from this information. And let me know in the comments down below, how can we continue this conversation, and where are you on your journey towards becoming a signature woman? I really would like to know. But thank y'all for tuning in. Please go ahead and give me a like, leave me a comment down below, and subscribe to my channel for more fun videos like this as we continue our signature womanhood series. And I will catch y'all in my next video. Bye.